Welcome in, everyone, to another edition of the Sick Podcast, Recruits Draftcast. This week, we have some rookie prospect showcase tournament, however you want to call it. We have hockey. That's what matters. We're going to get to see some actual games. It's going to be a ton of fun. We're going to break that down. We're going to be focusing on the Habs versus Leafs little tournament happening next week, which, Grant, you and I will be in attendance. We're going to talk about Anaheim, who got dealt a pretty bad blow this week with two serious injuries to some big players. And as always, we're going to get to our prospect of the week a little later on. So let's get started.
Turn up your volume. Because you're about to listen to the Sick Podcast. Recruits Draftcast.
With our first pick in the 2022 NHL Draft, les Canadiens de Montréal sont fiers de repêcher from the Slovakian national team and TPS Turku, Juraj Slafkovsky.
The sickest NHL draft and scouting podcast. It's gonna be sick.
Producer Shane here, as always, joined by my fantastic co-host, Grant McCagg. Grant, how you doing today?
I'm pretty well, thanks. How are you doing?
Can't complain. I cannot complain. You know what? It's beautiful outside. We're on the precipice of fall, but we can still enjoy the nice weather. And we got hockey on deck, players on the ice. We've seen the first skates of Patrick Laine in a Habs uniform or practice jersey. By the way, those Fanatics practice jerseys are awful. But again, I think we all expected that. Fanatics is not exactly known for their high quality. So we'll just leave it at that. But on to better things here.
Yeah. They certainly aren't like Insta Customs. They aren't up to that standard, that's for sure.
There it is. Couldn't have said it better. Couldn't have said it. Those shoulder patches, anyways, awful, terrible. But Laine did look good in them. So this coming week, I should say, the rookie camp opens up for the Habs, which starts September 11th. And today they released their roster, the players that will be in attendance. So for those of you who are listening in and aren't watching, I will read the names for you. We got Owen Beck, Jared Davidson, Sean Farrell, Emil Heineman, Riley Kidney, Justin Larose, Philip Meshar, Israel Mianskum, Logan. Man, it's too small. I don't know how to pronounce that, Grant. Number 94.
Yeah.
Number 94 on forward.
Logan. Mayo.
We'll go with that. Maxime Pellerin, Charles Savoie, Tyler Thorpe, Luke Tuck, and Florian Jacki are the forwards. On defense, we got Emmanuelson Charbonneau. We got Adam Engstrom, Lane Hudson, Logan Mayu, Simon Motu. We really liked him at development camp. Owen Protz and David Reinbacher. And the goaltenders are Quentin Miller and
Samuel Richard.
I can't read that. It's too small.
And that's Logan Niehoff is how you...
Okay.
I think is how you pronounce that. Silent J.
He's an invite to the camp. So that is your roster. That will be the roster for the games being played next weekend on the 14th and the 15th against the Toronto Maple Leafs prospects. They haven't released their roster yet, but I mean, it's Easton Cowan, Fraser Minton, and Ben Danford. Let's be honest here. That's about it. So camp starts the 11th. We got games next weekend. Grant, what do you think of the roster? What can we expect here?
I don't, usually the Canadiens rookie roster is a little bit underwhelming, but that's I can't recall there being a squad that exciting, especially on defense. I mean, wow. I didn't know that Lane Hudson would be playing in that. I figured because when he came up, he didn't go back to Laval after the end of the season, that he was an NHLer all the way from now on here on in. But obviously the Canadiens thought it'd be like, he is a rookie, right? Like, let's be honest there. He's going to be up for the Calder, eligible for the Calder Trophy when he's a rookie. So that's great that he showed up. Engstrom will look really good, I'm sure. You know, him and Reinbach are each with 2 years pro already, playing in the rookie tournament against. They're probably going to stand out, as will Mayu. So those four defensemen in particular, Montreal's should be really strong. I don't expect them to give up 7-8 goals, even if they have a couple of not exactly first round picks in nets like that. But the Samuel Richard kid, he's played at the University of New Brunswick the last 2 years, and I don't know if you had a chance to look at his stats, but 159 or something goals against average, and now 187 last year.
Okay.
I think they went all the way, did they not? I think they won the CIAU title last year, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe not, but I think that was the team that, the coach of the junior coach there, the PEI. Anyways, he was coaching it, and he ended up coaching the U18s last year and took them all the way, or the junior team that he coached last year.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, I know who you're talking about. Yeah.
I can't think of his name. My memory's not.
It's like the most Canadian name you could think of, and it's slipping my mind as well. But I'm sure the viewers will let us know in the comments.
Anyway, look a bit like the bug-eyed walrus there, McLean. Has the bushy mustache and the
Brandon Prust. Yeah. What a time.
But anyway, they if I'm not mistaken, I think they won the CIAU championship last year, and so why not bring the kid out and have a look? He played in the queue for a few years, and Canadian college hockey is one of the really underappreciated, just how good a level of hockey it is. Mm-hmm. And there are kids, we've seen it in the past, kids that come up. David Ruchin is an example of a kid that after junior went to the college route, signed a pro contract, became a good NHLer. So there's always those examples, and nice to see him getting an invite at least, and we'll see how he looks. Miller's a good goalie too. Glad that he went to Rimouski. They're going to have a chance that they're going to be really strong this year. But Beck and Heineman, almost a little surprised that he got the invite too. But they're loaded up. Like they've got a really good roster, and I think it'll be fun to see Montreal's rookies probably stomp on Toronto's rookie. We'll see. I guess
we don't want to spit in the air, okay? No, but let's be honest here, right? This team is loaded. Should win.
I'll be surprised if they don't win, but hey, goaltending sometimes too, right? If the Habs goalies are a little off and the other guy stands on his head, then it'll be a different story. But I think as far as which team will dominate play, it should likely be that Habs squad, because they're pretty loaded.
That's right. No, that's it. And the worst thing they could do is come in there with I guess too much confidence, right? They think that it's going to be a light matchup. These are still NHL prospects, right? These are some of the best young players in the world. So they got to come in there and play as if they want a roster spot, right? That's what it is. That's their first chance of getting noticed this year. So hopefully these guys show up and show out. And what's more impressive too for me, you see that roster, it's loaded, right? But there's so many more prospects that aren't even in that team. Ivan Demidov, Michael Hage, all the Europeans. I mean, Koivu, Eriksson, Kapanen, right? Like there's so many more that aren't even there yet. Bogdan Konushkov, in net, you got Jacob Fowler, Volokin, I guess Jakub Dobesh could still be considered a rookie. Like it's shaping up, you know what I mean? You see the vision now, you see the picture, and we get to see them on the ice this coming week. It's going to be a blast. I'm excited about it. We're obviously everyone's going to be keeping an eye on the defense, but don't sleep on the forwards, right? There's, Owen Beck, Meshar, Heineman, Farrell, Tuck, Jacky. Like it's going to be fun.
Yeah.
It's going to be a lot of fun.
Gardner McDougall.
That told you the most Canadian name ever. I love that guy.
Yeah.
I love him.
They had a perfect season last year, 43 straight wins. So obviously Richard, not a bad goalie, you know. And
did that guy lose a game at all last year? Like even in the he didn't lose a single game. He swept the World Juniors. He swept this season. Wow. That kudos. Kudos, Mr. McDougal. That is impressive. Very impressive. Before we move on, Grant, you already mentioned them, but we got to give a big thank you to the people who helped make this show possible. And we want to thank Insta Customs, proud supporters of the Recruits Draftcast. They are the highest rated apparel print shop in all of Canada at 4.9 Google stars. They're located just minutes away from the Bell Center on Rue Stanley. Go check them out at instacustoms.com. Highly recommend. They made us, these hats. Sometimes we wear the shirts. Great quality stuff there. instacustoms.com. Grant, the Anaheim Ducks were dealt a pretty serious blow this week, losing 2 prospects to injuries, serious injuries too. The first being Beckett Seneca, 3rd overall pick in this last draft, broke his foot, and he is now out for 6 to 8 weeks. I would have been surprised if he'd made the team out of camp. I thought he'd go back to Oshawa. Now he's definitely going back to Oshawa, but it's a tough one. And then goaltender Thomas Suhanek, I believe is how you pronounce it. He tore his ACL. That is 6 to 8 months. So that is a huge, huge setback for him. Very unfortunate. Good goalie prospect there, but yeah, Anaheim is probably not too happy this week. No,
I don't think Seneca was making the team or anything, so it's not like it's harming the,
but they still want him on the ice to practice all that, yeah.
Oh yeah, I mean, you wanted to see him, in training camp and get all that experience and stuff, but he'll be out till mid-October or something like that, miss a month, and hopefully he'll be up to speed and make the World Junior team. I can't see him not, unless it's a slow start back into it. But yeah, that's unfortunate for them. 2 of the top 4 prospects in the draft out of training camp, or at least the start of it. It's unfortunate for the teams. You got to feel for them. I went back to Samuel Richard. I should have looked this up before. I didn't have time. I was writing I wrote the article about we're just posting articles here, just really getting revved up on the Sick Podcast news. And that article comes out just before we're going to do a podcast. The release of the roster for the Habs. So I wrote up an article that you can see on thesickpodcast.com if you go have a look about the rookie roster for the Canadiens. But this Richard kid at the University Cup, 3 games, goals against average 0.00, 3-0. And then the year before, his goals against was 1.33. So in 6 games at the University Cup the last 2 years, he let in 4 goals. That's not bad.
Okay. All right. That's a great invite right there. Yeah, that's what you do. That's amazing. Wow. Yeah. So that's a name to keep an eye on. And I mean, Quentin Miller is also going to be a really good goalie.
Yeah.
So I think they're loaded at every level on that team. It's going to be a lot of fun to see. Another thing, I just thought of this. I wanted to bring it up to you because I think it's just fun and it's cool. 2 of the biggest rookies coming into this season, Macklin Celebrini and Will Smith of the San Jose Sharks, are going to be roommates with 2 San Jose legends themselves. Celebrini is going to be living with Joe Thornton this year, and Will Smith's going to be living with Patrick Marleau. That is awesome. I love that. Great move. Whoever thought of that. I don't know if it was the initiative of the Shark legends or if it was, management that kind of set this up, but I think this is just amazing.
Who was that second guy that you mentioned that he's living with? Will
Smith?
Yeah.
Patrick Marleau.
Oh, okay. There's the way you pronounced it there, I wasn't exactly sure.
It's a French name, right? That's how it rolls off the tongue for me, man.
Patrick Marleau.
It's Patrick Marleau, you know. I know he's not French, but man, that's just how I say it. It's
Yeah. No,
Patty Marleau, the Sharks legend.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Now I know who you mean. Yeah. No. Yeah, that's pretty cool. That I mean, is Celebrini gonna show up at camp with a big bushy beard or what? Yeah.
Oh, that'd be awesome. That'd be great. Yeah. Joe should donate a bit of that, you know, just glue it on his face for the start of
by
camp.
By the end of the season, his beard's down to his chest. No, yeah, that would be cool. But I would imagine that Macklin, the age that he is, his beard probably grows in a little scruffier even than yours, there, young fella.
Oh, it's not a contest. It's not. But no, I think this is great. I mean, you know, Joe Thornton is the guy that actually drafted. You know, he called out Celebrini's name in Vegas. I think that's cool, and he's a former first overall pick too. So I think living with him, getting to know, you know, getting to soak in that experience, that wisdom, is going to do wonders for him. And same goes for Will Smith. I mean, Patrick Marleau is an icon, a legend. Probably you can't really pick a better roommate. This kind of reminds me of Wyatt Johnston living with Joe Pavelski in Dallas, right? You saw, I mean, Wyatt Johnston was unbelievable this year, and I'm sure a lot of that credit goes to Joe Pavelski. So this is solid move, right?
Real surprising that Joe and Patrick are living in San Jose after their careers. I'd have thought they'd move to, you know, I don't know, Reykjavik or Anchorage or something, you know. No,
it's hard to pass that California sun, right? Like,
Joe likes that beach, and maybe he'll even get Macklin out doing a little surfing with him. We'll see. But that's a perfect thing. It's neat that they're able to do that, you know. Ivan Demidov can't move in with, you know, when he moves here, he can't move in with that Alex Kovalev or anything like that. No, like Alex is too busy coaching over in the K. But no, that's really neat that they're able to do that, and it gives them time to get acclimatized. Mm-hmm. You know, those lads will show them the ropes and give them some great tips. I think Smith needs some guidance there for sure. Macklin, I don't think you have to worry about him.
He's fine
regardless, but you know, every bit helps, and Will Smith in particular will get some good guidance from Mr. Marleau. Monsieur Marleau.
Michel, yeah. Love it. So, I mean, again, this is reminiscent of, you know, Crosby living with Lemieux, right? It's that kind of stuff. So you just love it. I mean, this is such a great initiative. I think more teams should do that. But again, you have to have the willing homes. You know what I mean? Taking in an 18, 19-year-old is a bit of a shakeup sometimes. Can be slobs, can be. So, anyways,
didn't Gallagher?
Josh Georges.
Yeah.
Stayed with Georges, yeah.
Yeah.
I remember that.
And then did Gallagher not house somebody last year or the year before? I can't remember, but I think he may have.
I don't know.
Returned the favor type thing. But yeah, it was neat that you know, Gally got that welcoming from Josh, a vet like that. And I mean, Josh was a great vet and a great leader. So, anytime you can do something like that, I think it's a good route to go.
Absolutely. Before we get to our prospects of the week, we also have to give a big thank you to Cheapest T-shirts, the cheapest rock bottom apparel wholesale prices in all of Canada. Okay, 36 different clothing brands, over 600 different products. You order today, it's shipped today, and you get it tomorrow. So don't waste any more time. Go visit CheapestTshirts.ca and get some good stuff there. I have this fantastic jacket, and I got some sweatpants from there as well. Top quality stuff. Highly recommend it.
I was talking with Nick this week from Insta Customs, and he said he was at a print show or something, and some people came up to him and said, "Hey, do you have an ad with Recruits Draftcast there?" So it's getting out there.
Hell yeah.
He's getting some feedback on the branding. So hey, every bit helps. Support those guys. Nick's just a great guy. He's I've gotten to know him pretty well and made up some free stuff for us too, and gave us some free merchandise. So
he's
just
best.
A great guy. If you need any t-shirts or merchandise, Cheapest T-shirts and Insta Customs. They're a local Montreal based. Look them up and help support Nick just as he's supported us.
Yep, Nick is the best. He's the best. All right, speaking of best, your prospect of the week this week is one of the best defensemen in this upcoming draft class. We talked about Matthew Schaefer at great lengths, but this guy might actually challenge him. And of course, we're talking about Logan Hensler. Let's have a look.
Yeah, a 6'2" right defenseman with his mobility. Right off the bat, he's already you're looking at a first round guy before anything else. But here is him in the U18 Worlds last April versus Canada. Now, he was about 17 and a half at the time. He's an October birthday, so he's not eligible to play for the U18 team this year. But obviously he was one of the youngest players because he wasn't eligible for the draft last year. One of the youngest players in this game. But wow, he's steady. He's just such a rock solid defenseman. Yeah. It's his mobility in particular that just blows me away for a 6'2" kid. It's excellent. One of the better skaters to come out of the draft, defenseman in the last few years as far as his mobility goes. He had 6 points in 7 games at the Worlds. While averaging 16.25 in a second pairing role behind Hudson and Emery. What's also impressive is he started last year on the U18 team as a 16-year-old, but he had a steady role right from the first game. He's heading to Wisconsin this year, so he'll be going starting the season as a 17-year-old in college hockey, which is pretty impressive, especially on defense. But I think he'll get a role right off the bat because he's just so steady. Doesn't mind joining the rush. There's a nice back pass there. Almost scored on that one. He's great at puck retrievals, but what stands out right from the start is the skating. You can just see how great his edges are. He's smooth and effortless skater. His crossovers and his backward skating in particular are elite. If I were to make an NHL comparison, I'm going to dip into former Montreal here. He looks a bit like a steadier version of Jeff Petrie, like a 6'2" defenseman with elite mobility who can contribute some offense. He's not overly physical, but he's a stout one-on-one defender because of his size skating. Here's McKenna up against him. McKenna got to the outside, but did you see how he switched?
Yeah.
Got to a stick on the other side there.
Very quick.
Like McKenna is hard to... when he's going like that...
Understatement.
Yeah, he's hard to contain. And, he did a good job all things considered. Like, you look at that clip, and he did nothing. Like, he was skating perfectly, but McKenna's just so elusive and quick.
Mhm.
It was it was a good of him to get back into play and switch sides on him and get, bother him so he couldn't get away a good shot there. But he's got a very active stick. Similar to Petrie in that he's not going to be a bruiser, but with the size, skating combo, and the active stick, defends really well. And he reads the plays well. He's also a very effective puck retriever. And unlike Mr. Petrie, usually makes a safe pass.
Yeah.
That would have been, that's why, I a caveat when I said a steadier version.
Mhm.
Here are his points from the World Junior. I just added it to the end after the Canada game, but you can see that he, when he decides to wind her up and move out of the zone, nobody's stopping him, and he'll create offense that way. And here's a nice rush, nice pass there. This is against Norway. Makes a dandy pass here that ends up being a goal. Most of his points at the World Juniors were on nice outlet passes. I think this was his goal here. Nice snapper. Yeah. So he's got a really good shot. But you can just see right from the first clip there, Shane, just how smooth he is. 6'2" right defenseman.
Absolutely.
Highly regarded, those guys. He's I see him as a top 10 guy, and him and Schaefer right now are the two defensemen that I would say I would think are the most touted and highest ranked going into the season. We'll see how it's not an easy go for a defenseman to jump into college at that age, but I think his skate, he's just such a natural skater that, and has good size and is steady, reads the play well, smart. I think he'll make the adjustment. I think he'll play regularly, and I think scouts are just going to keep getting more and more impressed. I think he'll play in the World Juniors too. Pretty sure that he'll crack the team this year, and that'll only help his draft stock too. But I've got Schaefer ahead of him right now, but I think Schaefer's probably has a little more offensive skill, a little better, little better at creating stuff in the offensive zone. So that gives him an edge. But Hensler is might even be a better skater, which is saying a lot. So two great defense prospects for this draft class. And when when you consider all of the impressive two-way all-around forwards that I think are in the top 10, it's shaping up to be, again, a really, really high-quality top 10 in the draft class. I think as time has gone on here, you rarely see it now. Like if you go back to 2000, between 2000 and 2015, there were a few drafts where the top 10 didn't end up being that strong.
Yeah.
But the developments in countries is getting better and better all the time. And it seems like athletes are developing at a younger age now than they used to. The more development, more training, nutrition. 30, 40 years ago, nutrition would, kid went to McDonald's after the game, and they don't do that now, the top end guys. But every year, I think pretty much it's a strong. The top 10 is very strong every year, and as time's gone along here, you see fewer and fewer busts in the top 10.
Right.
Now there are exceptions, like the KK year. There were, it wasn't the strongest, and there were a couple guys that, Zadina's He's out of the NHL.
He's in Switzerland now.
Playing in Switzerland. Hayton, we're still waiting to see as a top 5 pick that he'll pan out. Was Boquist in that draft too? I think he may have been. Maybe he hasn't panned out. KK's been disappointing, for a top 3 pick. But really, since then, you look at the top 10s and, with the odd exception, as there always will be, if you have a top 10 pick in a draft these days, you're 9 times out of 10 you're getting somebody that's really going to help you down the road.
Absolutely, yeah. And I mean, look, we look at Hensler here. You mentioned that he's a 6'2" mobile right defenseman. We look back at 2023. Number 5 overall, David Reinbacher, 6'2", right-handed mobile defenseman. So you see how valued of a commodity these types of players are. So I wouldn't be shocked to see him sneak out like very high. And you know why I said sneak. He's going to earn that spot because he's damn good. But listen, you mentioned the top 10, right? I think we've mentioned a lot more than 10 players who could be in the top 10. So that is very exciting.
When it's this early to have more than 10 legitimate top 10 candidates, it's encouraging. Because there's always some late risers. So it might be a really strong top 15 this year. What, scouts as a rule like prospects that don't have a lot of question marks. And when you look at, Hagen's, there's no real question marks there, right? Schaefer, no question marks. Denoyer, no, he's going to be a coach's dream. Absolutely. Martone, same deal. Captain of the friggin' under 18 team last year. Last April. McQueen, Spence. All around 6'4", tough, all around center. Malcolm Spence, who I friggin' love, is the same deal. He's going to up and down, tough, great skater, big, good defensively, good offensively. Like there's no holes in any of these guys' games.
No,
and that's not even mentioning Misa, who
Frendel as well, Ryabkin, who we've mentioned.
Ryabkin and Frendel,
we can keep going.
Who I featured on, goes without saying that I love those guys, right? They've been featured on the two-way physical offensive forwards. So it's they all look like they're like, I'd be shocked if they aren't top 15 picks at this point. Maybe usually 1 or 2 guys drops back but often in the past it's when you see the preliminary list, there'll be a couple of guys where you think, well, okay, but what's the kid Kiva Harju is a good example. You saw him in top 10 lists because he was so good and played above his level, but he was a 5'9" defenseman, right? And the jury was out. And sure enough, as the year went along, you say, okay, no, he's not a top 10 guy. But that didn't shock me because I didn't think he was to begin with, right? At that size, you have to just be extra super special. Right. And Henry Muse, another one that some people had as a top 10, but I'd seen him all the year before, and we'll see. He'd have to reach another level, and he didn't, so he dropped. But this group, there aren't a lot of flaws and red flags on any of them. So I think they're all going to be tough to supplant as at a minimum top 15 guys for this draft class. So may not be as much soul searching and as some drafts where you're just, wow, how do I rank these guys? It might be a little easier task this year.
That's it. That's it. I mean, but by the sounds of it, we're going to have a lot of fun covering these players throughout the year. And so if you want to know more about them, you know what to do. Hit the subscribe, hit the bell notification, all right, so you don't miss a new episode. And if you want to just
And
listen to us, you're tired of our faces, right? We're on Spotify. We're on Apple Podcasts. You can listen to us. We're everywhere, baby. We're everywhere. It's the Sick Takeover. What'd you want to say, Grant?
just sickpodcast.com. Starting this week, I'm going to start posting videos and scouting reports. I've probably got 20 in the bank right now that I've just been waiting, piling up. Sickpodcast.com. Hit the draft hockey, hit the draft, go to the sub menu of draft. And starting this week, there's going to be tons of videos up there and scouting reports for people. So we're going to go start with the Habs and the draft coverage gung-ho this week on sickpodcast.com. That's where you're going to find my stuff this year, and it's all free.
And you're going to be posting draft rankings monthly. Is that correct?
Yeah. Sometime in September here, when I feel comfortable enough, I'll post my first top 32, and we'll go from there. Then every 4 weeks or so after that, we'll get a draft ranking out and just keep expanding it as it goes along. I'm going to start with a top 32. There's no way to rank 80 guys to start.
No,
it takes time. You can't see everybody at once, and I want to see everybody before I rank them. It just doesn't make sense to throw a dart at the board. And I mean, I've tried it before, but ultimately you end up you look back at the ranking in 6 months and say, wow, why did I have that guy 20th overall? I should have looked at him first, I guess. Just based on reputation and stuff. I don't like to do that.
That's it.
I like to see them, scout them, talk to some other scouts, see if they see the same thing, get some confirmation, and put out as accurate a preliminary list as I can.
Right on. Love it. So sickpodcast.com. You heard the man. Go check it out. And you know what? I'll give another name that we could have mentioned today, and that is Oliver Kapanen. And his coach, Olli Jokinen, had a very interesting quote, and I'm going to read it to you. He said that he's been too good for our league so far this preseason. He's too good for the league, playing like a dominant force in every single game. He's been great offensively, scoring some goals, but also defensively and in the faceoff circle, which will be his biggest advantage going into Montreal. He's the type of player you can put anywhere because his hockey sense is very high. He went on to say that he wouldn't be surprised if Kapanen could fight for a roster spot as soon as this year. So another guy.
How often have you heard me say that? That I don't sleep on Kapanen making the Habs.
Well,
he's ahead of Beck right now. He's not going to the rookie camp. They'll bring him in. He's going to camp though. And
yes,
I think he's better than Evans right now. Whether that means that he ends up getting a spot or not, hard to say. But he's bigger, brings more offense, better face-offs, just as good defensively, I think. And that's no slight to Evans. I think Evans is an NHL player. But
it's fantastic, yeah.
I just think that Kapanen is going to be all day a top 3 center, two-way center at the NHL level. And it could be as soon as this season. I would not be surprised. I hope he gets in a few exhibition games and shows his stuff. I'm positive that Marty's going to love him. Yeah. You're going to hear similar quotes from Marty, I bet, a month down the road saying, wow, this kid, he does everything well. He's just so smart. He's his two-way game, his anticipation, his face-offs, goes to the front of the net, takes a beating, has a really deflects the puck well, like has great eye-hand coordination. But his play away from the puck, it might be the most impressive thing of all. So really looking forward to seeing him at camp. Geez, I wish you'd have sent me those quotes from the coach before. Then we would have featured him instead of.
Well, we talked about both guys. I think they all deserved some love today.
I did have a quick look at one of his games about a week and a half ago, and I thought his skating, he had to get up to the Swedish games a little quicker than in Finland. And it looked like he had to get up to speed a little bit. Wasn't maybe as impressed with him as I was last year, but I haven't seen the last two games. And judging from that quote from his coach, he's picked up his speed and is looking just fine that way, because he's got all the components. And just another exciting prospect to keep an eye on at Montreal's camp. This year is going to be a dogfight. There's going to be some really good battles with the young kids.
That's right.
And it all starts with the two games against the mighty Maple Leafs next weekend.
Mighty. Rookie camp opens up on September 11th, and then 2 games against the Maple Leafs on the 14th and the 15th. I will be in attendance on the 15th. I think, Grant, you're going to be there for both. So that'll do it for us this week. We appreciate your support, your love. Everybody in the comments is, the people who watch this show are the best, really. I mean, you guys know your stuff, and we love interacting with you. So we really appreciate the love. As always, I told you, man, we're gonna be on this all year long. All right, all those big prospects we mentioned earlier, right? We're gonna be covering them. We're gonna be covering every prospect-centered event, tournament, games, whatever you name it. It's all gonna be here. Okay, so do yourself a favor, subscribe, hit the like button, hit the notification bell so you don't miss a new episode. He's Grant McCagg. I'm producer Shane. This has been another edition of the SIG Podcast, Recruits Draftcast. Until next time, take care, everyone.
And that's a wrap. Hope you don't miss us too much until next time. Follow the SIG Podcast, Recruits Draftcast on YouTube, Facebook, Google Play, and Apple Podcasts.